Are you on the fence about whether you should get a job as a data scientist or a data analyst? Well, hold tight, because in this video, you're going to get all the insider information about what each of these roles entails, and more importantly, some serious stuff you need to consider about yourself before choosing between them. For the very best data leadership and business building advice, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when a new episode drops each week. I'm Lillian Pearson, and I am so grateful to say that through my partnerships with LinkedIn Learning and Wiley, I've helped educate well over 1 million data professionals on how to do data science. I've been a data entrepreneur since 2012, and the mission of my company, Data Mania, is to support data professionals in becoming world-class data leaders and entrepreneurs. I'm going to be real with you. Lots has changed over the last 10 years, and the discussion we're about to have today is far different than it would have been even 5 years ago. The bar has definitely been raised. Now, to determine which role is best suited for your professional and personal goals, you first need to understand the responsibilities each of these jobs entails, and then we're going to take into consideration some personal aspects of which you really should be aware. Hold tight, because I'm going to cover all of this in just the next few minutes. Let's look first at role requirements and skill sets. If you want to become a data analyst, then you definitely should have a STEM degree, and you're going to want tech skills in programming, databases, predictive analysis, and model building. You should have experience with R, Python, and SQL, and you're going to want to have consulting skills. By that, I mean that you've got reporting acumen as well as strong analytical skills, the ability to manage multiple priorities, and of course, strong communication skills. Data analysts also have experience with agile development workflows and various related pipelines. If, on the other hand, you want to become a data scientist, here's a list of typical requirements of a data scientist. You need a STEM degree. You want to know how to program in Python, R, and SQL at the very least. You'll want to have a whole plethora of analytical techniques at your disposal. So data mining, random forest, statistical analysis, regression trees, social network analysis, these sort of things. And you'll also want to have some architecture level experience. So you definitely don't need to be a data architect by any means, but you do at least want to have some experience with data architecture level tasks. Obviously, you'll want to know the ins and outs of machine learning, artificial neural nets, decision trees, deep learning, reinforcement learning. There's a lot to machine learning, so I'm not going to go into all the details on that. You can Google it. And of course, sophisticated as anything statistical analysis skills. In order to get any form of seniority as a data scientist, you'll want to have around at least 5 years of experience. And it's definitely going to be helpful if you have experience working in a distributed computing environment or using tools for distributed computing. You absolutely need to have data visualization skills as well as data storytelling skills. And you need to have pretty good communication abilities in terms of communicating your data insights to non-data people. So in other words, you need to have a pretty sophisticated combination of math, statistics, programming, domain expertise, as well as communication and presentation skills that enable you to present your findings to business leaders. Now let's look at responsibilities associated with each of these roles. Of course, this depends on what company you're at and what your exact role is, but some things are consistent across the board. In its simplest form, data analysts are responsible for both analyzing and interpreting insights in data. But for more details, you'll be working to research and analyze consumer data, work and modify customer-centric algorithms in order to meet the needs and expectations of customers, analyze large data sets and present actionable findings, support business decision-making with findings from both ad hoc and reoccurring analyses, determine KPIs, generate financial reports, as well as design and optimize dashboards. You'll of course need to be able to visualize data, goals, and metrics, as well as extract data from data warehouses using SQL. A common path is for someone to start off as a data analyst and slowly work their way up to data scientist and senior data scientist. Data scientists, on the other hand, are commonly required to know more statistics than software engineers and more programming than most statisticians. A data scientist knows how to run a data project from beginning to end, performing tasks that require storing and cleaning big data, building predictive models, and generating predictive insights. Once all that's done, they have to turn it into compelling data stories. That's what we call data storytelling. In terms of key responsibilities, data scientists most of the time are mining and analyzing company data for making improvements to product development as well as business strategy and even marketing campaigns. Data scientists leverage predictive modeling in order to optimize and increase revenue generation, customer engagement, and ads targeting. Data scientists also develop custom algorithms and data models. They also develop tools and processes that help oversee and monitor the performance and accuracy of the models they're building. They assess data gathering techniques and evaluate new data sources for accuracy and reliability. They, of course, test the quality of their models as well as use A/B testing to develop frameworks for their company. In other words, data scientists implement models and monitor the results of those models, all while interfacing with various teams across the company. Based on the explanation I've just provided, looking at your skill sets, what camp do you think you fall in now? Are you more of a data analyst type or a data scientist type? Tell me in the comments below. The next thing you'll need to consider, of course, is academic requirements. Now, like I said, if you want to be a data scientist, you don't necessarily need to have a master's or PhD, but then again, only 12% of data scientists have less than that. So it's a good idea if you want to be a data scientist that you go back and you get an advanced degree in either data science, statistics, or computer science. And if you know for sure that you definitely do not want to go back to school, not a problem. You'll probably just want to head more towards the data analyst type role if you don't already have one of those degrees. Of course, another important thing to take into account are your natural interests. You have to ask yourself, are you more interested in statistics and numbers, or are you more interested in business and computer science? In all honesty, the crux of a data analyst position is centered around numbers and statistics. And don't get me wrong, you need to have all of the same numbers and statistics in order to be a data scientist, but the focus and crux of a data scientist role is a bit shifted, it's taken up a notch. So you're also going to be responsible for business knowledge as well as computer science expertise. While a data analyst, of course, does need to understand their company, they don't need to be as well-versed in business processes and computer science as a data scientist is. So it's really up to you right now to look at yourself and think, what lights me up? Is it business or is it math? And if that's you and you're finding yourself leaning more and more towards a data scientist role, then you're probably going to love the recent video I did on the data scientist career path and all of the killer opportunities that you're going to find on that path. So I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Let's take a minute to talk about earning capacity, shall we? According to a 2021 research I did on Indeed.com, data analysts on average are making between $60,000 and $75,000 per year in the United States. That is compared to data scientists who are making between $75,000 and $120,000 per year. Keep in mind that these are just basic numbers to get you started off in your career, and there's still plenty of room for you to grow and hit multiple six figures in terms of annual compensation from your data career. Now, I'll tell you more about that in a second. And last but definitely not least, you have to take in consideration your personality and passions. It may seem a bit odd to start talking about your personality traits when we're talking about whether or not you should become a data analyst or a data scientist. I mean, is there a job out there that's more analytical and cut and dry than a data scientist or data analyst? But that's exactly why you have to take your personality into account. In all honesty, ignoring your feelings and what lights you up inside is a recipe for unhappiness. It really seems like everyone is trying to get data science skills these days, and that the reason they think they want the data scientist skills is so that they can be a data scientist. That makes sense. However, hindsight is always 20/20. I did that too back in 2012, and when I had all of the data science skills that I needed, I realized I wouldn't at all be happy working as a data scientist. That's because I have the personality type where I'm only satisfied and happy if I can see that the work that I'm doing on a daily basis is actually having a positive impact on the lives of others. And I need a lot closer contact with people than a typical data science role could provide me. So in case you haven't heard my story, instead of going for a second interview with Facebook for a data implementation position in Menlo Park, I instead decided to move to Thailand and bootstrap my data business from almost scratch. Now that was 8 years ago. I'm still a data entrepreneur. That's my personality type. That's my data superhero type to my core. And I've been blessed enough to have the chance to positively impact over 1 million data professionals so far, all while making great money as well. So my point here is that you don't necessarily need to become a data analyst or a data scientist. You have way more opportunities available to you than those two roles. Actually, I bet you didn't know that there are over 50 different types of data roles, and most of them are pretty darn well paid. So the thing is, thinking of this in terms of do I become a data scientist or a data analyst is somewhat short-sighted. There are far more opportunities available to you within the data professions. And you can take a much more direct path to a higher earning position that makes you super happy as well, which is why I suggest taking my Data Superhero Quiz. It's a free, super fun 45-second quiz that will help you uncover your inner data superhero. And by that, I mean it will help you uncover the optimal data career path for you given your skill sets and personality types. After taking it, you'll get personalized data career recommendations as well as all sorts of information about various data roles and compensation statistics related to those roles. If you'd like to take the quiz, it's over on my website and I'll link to it in the description below. Oh, and if you like this video, be sure to give it some love by giving it a thumbs up. Tell me in the comments below which of these roles is most interesting to you, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so you'll be first to know when the next episode drops.